Hey, what up, YouTube? How you doing? It's been a while that I've posted a video here, like an educational video. So I'm just here today to show you how I make radio ready Afro beats in Logic Pro using a bunch of Logic Pro instruments and a few third-party plugins. So I'm just gonna play the beats for you and we go right into it. All right, let's do it. Mm. All right, you get the idea of what's going on in the entire beat. So I'm gonna start with the drums. Let's start with the drums real quick, and we go to the instruments. So the whole idea started with this loop right here, and I think I got this loop from if I'm not wrong, I think Splice. I can't remember. I made this beat like over a year ago, and I just decided to share the process with you guys. So the loop alone by itself, right? And I'm not doing too much on the loop. Slight compression, the stock compression, tone the soft distortion on, a little bit of dB of gain reduction. And cutting off bunch of the high ends and the low ends. I don't want an issue with the actual drums. I just want that loop to be there. And I'm putting it, honestly, I don't even know why I'm putting the reverb right on the channel strip. Usually I will send, but it is what it is. And now let's go to the drums itself. And the drums sound, like this. Okay, apologies for that. You may see that a lot, but never mind. And that's the whole idea of drums. So I have my kicks. Yeah, I know this is exaggerated. I have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 kicks. Layer them all together, send them to a bus, and take the bus to the drum bus. But on the kick alone, this is what I'm doing on the kicks. Cutting some woofiness around about here, adding some top end, adding some low shelf. This is This is a free plugin. If you bought this Focusrite Scarlett interface, this comes for free, and it sounds really good on drums, on master bass, whatever you use it on. So sounds really good with some preset as well that you can start with. This is like the Pultec EQ style, and I'm just adding more 60 and I'm attenuating at 60. I'm also boosting at 3K wide bandwidth, and I'm attenuating at 10K. So I'm adding, then cutting. I'm adding and then cutting. So I want that punch, that click around the 3K region. I want the low end around 60, but I don't want it to be booming, so I'm attenuating. So if I have this, if I take out this attenuation, it just cleans it up a little bit. Let's take it back to where it was. And lastly, on the kick boss, I have this MV2, and I'm just squashing it a little bit, controlling the low end and the high end, bringing them together a little bit. Without it, lastly, on this kick boss, I have these waves MV2 thing, and I'm just squashing it a little bit, bringing the low end and the high end just together a little bit more. With it sounds like this. If I take it out, it's just adding something that that makes so much sense, that I like. And all of this is going to my drum bus, where I have this plugin alliance compressor, doing more compression. I have this T-Rex doing some compression as well. This is like the NIF 33609 emulation, if I'm correct. So the last plugin on the chain is the T-Rex one. Just doing some EQing, compression, stereo widening, a little bit of bass punch, analog saturation, and some snappy transient. I'm adding some transient to the entire drum bass. The snares that I'm using, it's regular stock snare sound. It's in Logic. This other snare, I think it's a sample that I just put into EX24. This other one as well, it's also a sample, and it just comes in once in a while. This snare only sounds like this. With the second snare, so it sounds real to me that way. And this other snare is just adding another feel to the entire drums. and I'm panning it a little bit to the left. Now, one thing about panning in Logic that is funny is if you're using a stereo track, and you're trying to pan to one side, you wanna make sure you pan using the stereo pan. If you pan using balance, you are gonna be losing the right side information. You wanna pan using the stereo pan so that you're not losing the entire left side. If you're panning to the left, or you're panning to the right or to the left, you pan that way. If you pan the other way around, this regular one that comes with Logic default, you're losing one side and you're just panning, and you're increasing the volume of what's on the other side, but you're losing this entire side. But if you pan this way, you're moving the entire stereo to this side. So you're not losing this side, you're just moving the entire thing to the other side. All right, so let's take this back to where it was. And that's the snare that I'm using. Also, I have this shaker. Just adding some African texture to this, to the groove. Yeah, I think that's all about the drums. These harder tracks, they just comes in once in a while. Some shaker. It's also from Logic African Kit. I think I actually got it from AfroBeats. If you search for it, something like this, definitely this one, I think. And the shaker here too, I think I also got it from AfroBeats. Let's play those ones real quick. From AfroBeats as well. And I'm just panning, nothing. I'm not adding anything to it. There's a clap here that comes in every now and then. The clap is just adding a feel to the drop right there, And this snare, I actually sampled this snare myself a long time ago, and I just put them into EXS24. It sounds like this. Yeah, it just sounds so good to me, and I put it in a lot of reverb, so that's the way I sampled it, and I just put it into EXS24. So I use it almost every time that I'm making Afrobeat, because it's my own sound. All right, let's go to the bass. I know a lot of people are always interested in the bass. For the bass, I'm using the Alchemy combined bass. Really, really easy. That's what I'm using, and I'm just using some plugins. I have the hard compressor, which is doing solely compression, and then followed with some EQ. Usually I do EQing before compression. Sometimes when I have a bunch of things that I want to take out, I will just take them out before compressing. Here, I don't know why I did that. But yeah, it just sounds good. So I'm taking out some things here that I don't like, and a little bit of boosting here and there. Then I'm using this max bass by Waves. to add some harmonics on the upper range around 174 here. You see, when the moment I turn it on, it just pops out more, just a little bit more. Again, let's listen to that. Without, with it, yeah. Now I'm using another hard compressor. This time around, I'm side chaining this from my kick. All of the kicks, the kick boss, right at the top here, bus 12, right? So I'm keying in bus 12 to this compressor. So every time the kick is playing, it's ducking the bass, you know, really fast attack, fast release, some nice level of compression. Let's see. Alright, you see what that is doing is just ducking the bass so that the kick is always punching through every time. Almost the similar thing that I did on the kick boss. Now, this time around, I'm doing on the bass, and I will show you what the difference is. Now, on the kick boss, I'm boosting and attenuating at 60. Now, on the bass, I'm boosting and attenuating at 30. So that way I am not clashing my frequency. So I'm boosting at 30 on the bass, but boosting at 60 on the kick. So I can get both of them to live and marry each other without fighting in the same space. So that's a trick that I use a lot, and most people use that as well to create that balance in the kick and bass relationship, which is always a big deal every now and then. All right, one last thing on the bass that is important is the hard bass, and I'll show you what that thing is doing. So I've set my frequency to 37, low intensity, and I'm bringing down the gain. All right, let's see what that is doing to the bass. Without, that's without. Now with it, it just go more deeper. It rounds the bass up in a way that I like it. One last thing again on this bass now is I'm trying to control this low mid area. I'm trying to control it a little bit. See that frequency. I don't like what is going on there, and I just want to control it a little bit more. I don't want to take it out completely, but just compress it a little bit. When the note, there's a particular note that is triggering the frequency. If we open up this, I think all right, you see, yeah, this note right here is triggering this frequency more. And if this C4 is not there, it's just, I don't like it. It's making it so woofy, and I just want to clean it up a little bit. All right, that's all about the bass that I'm doing on the bass. And I'm sending it, I know it's stupid, I'm sending a little tiny bit of it to the reverb. I just don't want it to be too dry. Now I'm sending the entire bass parallel to this saturation right here. I have this saturation knob. Again, is a free plugin from when I bought my first audio interface from Focusrite, but this is a Softube plugin, and this is what's going on in that saturation. It's dirty. Yes, it is dirty. I have the saturation, I have the fat FX. I know this is one of the most underrated plugins in Logic. Underrated. You see the preset I'm going for? Bright Dead. So I just want to dirty up the entire bass track, you know, and that's what I want to do there. All right, so let's move on to the next thing in the track. I think I had hi-hats initially, and I was like, you know what, I check it out, not working. Now there's this instrument that I like in Alchemy. It sounds like this. It's I think I tweak a preset in Alchemy, chill waves. Oh, this is the original one. So this is everything I'm doing, and I saved my own preset. And I'm compressing a little bit of this. Just slight compression, some reverb on the insert. I didn't want to send this one. I wanted to have just a different feel from every other thing, just a different feel. I'm using this Valhalla room reverb, really nice. I like it. The bright room mode, and I'm using that on the entire thing without the reverb. Just 30% dry wet. All right, let's move on to the next instrument. This one is a sample that I think it's from Splice as well. Again, just some EQing and a little bit of compression as well. Nothing crazy going on, and the two of the instruments together sounds like this. So you see what the EQ is doing to both of them. One is cutting the low, the other is cutting the highs. One is taking out some of the mids, the other is boosting some of the mids. So that's one of the ways I try to separate my instrument from having some frequency clash. So I find the way of taking out a whole lot of things that I don't need from one, and take out a whole lot of other things that I don't need from the other, right? So everything kind of now balances up properly if I have them separated that way. Yeah, those are the main two instruments on this track. The rest are just pads. There's this guitar that I want to show you. It's also in Logic, you know. This is the guitar, crunchy muted delays. It sounds really, really good. But I'm doing a few more things on this guitar right here. Let's see what's going on with this. And what's going on here is really simple. I have my EQ cleaning up the low end. I'm using transient designer to add more attack to the entire gator. And also I have this Renaissance axe. It's adding some harmonics and it's also doing some compression a little bit. And the most important thing on this guitar, it's the amplitude that I'm using. So if I turn it off, it sounds like this. So it's a guitar amp emulation. I'm using a preset called Clean Apologies, and I am adding some flanging and delay on top of it. So with the amplitude, it sounds like that. Without it, it's so different. So this is an IK multimedia plugin that I've been rocking on guitars. It has a lot of amp simulation, loads and loads and loads of emulations. You can finish this thing. It's just so much. So a lot of emulation, Fender, Orange, whatever, and bass as well is there. So if you want to use bass amp, you can check it out. It's all you need for amps. And I'm just sending these things to reverbs, delay, and more reverb. And I'm also sending to this thing by Sound Toys. It just helps me spread it a little bit. Only these sounds like this. It just spreads it. Without it, I like the way it spreads. Yeah. All right, let's move on to the next instrument. I have this clave every now and then that just comes in. It's also free in Logic. If I play with the drums, all right. Now I have a lot of vocal chops going on. Some of them from Splice, some of them from Apple Loops that I just chop them off and I just use them with reverbs, with other plugins like Boy. For example, this is what I'm doing on this one. Yeah. So I'm filtering out a lot of things going on here. And I'm just bumping this up a little bit because I want the resonance from this frequency. You see what's going on here? I started with the preset. Again, I like to start with preset a lot, just make my life more easier. And I just tweak it as I go. Okay, and I'm using Boy to add a pitch down frequency and I'm mixing it in. So without the Boy, without the EQ, with the now let's add the Boy. Yeah, on the male vocal, nothing serious. Compressor and then EQ. And let's see what that sounds like. I think I got this one from Splice 2 or something. Yeah. and I just chop it off every now and then that I need it. I have a reverse symbol that I use just to create like some rise. And this other crash comes in right after the reverse symbol. So which I like. Yeah. All the things here are just vocal chops, just to add texture to the entire track, you know. The only thing here is this female vocal, the pans from left to right. And I'm using the Sound Toys Pan Man to achieve that. You can also use tremolo to do that. Let's look for it. The tremolo plugin, and let's see slow panning. Let's do, how many bars should we do? Let's do 2 bars. Right. So let's go from here. Easy. Almost the same thing that I use the Pamanchu. I think you can use a lot of stock plugin to achieve the same thing. All right, let's use the Paman. I don't see a big difference, so you don't need to have Paman to do that left to right thing that you've been looking for to do in Logic. You can use the tremolo effect to do that. Anyways, you get what the idea is, and I'm just sending it to bunch of reverbs, bunch of delays, and also another thing that I did on the guitars. I'm spreading it out a little bit more on this. And the reason why I'm using the same plugin is that in the area where this vocal comes in, the guitar is not playing. So why create another effect when you can just use the same one, right? The guitar is not here at the place where this vocal is going to be playing. So I can solo that and you hear what that sounds like. So it just goes to the side. If I take it off, so I want to spread it out more. This is different from the regular spreader in a way. The spreader can get you there, but this micro shift is doing some warping, some little bit of delaying that is going on inside of it as well. I believe the model this thing after some classic hardware. I can't remember if it is the H3000 or something like that. But it's different from just spreading. It's doing a little bit more than that. All right. So basically, this is all about the track. That's all about the track. The synth that I have that is going on here is also from Logic. It sounds like this. All right, so that, let me show you where that comes from. This is the track. You see lo-fi's 80s synth lead. It's inside of Alchemy. And this is what it sounds like now. So I'm compressing a heck out of this thing because I just want to keep it in control, right? Right, so I think that is all about the track, and one way to enhance the track is just to make sure we're not just playing the instrument, we're making some mixing decisions that help us to make really nice tracks. And when anybody listens to it, they want to jump on it straight away because it just sounds so good, like the finished product. So I think that's one thing I want to, encourage producers and Afrobeats producers to try and understand. Also, like learn a lot of mixing techniques that helps you to make your sound, your track sound so good. Like when the artist is listening to your rough mix, they just want to put it out. Like this doesn't need any more mix because it sounds so good already. The volume balancing is right. One of the most important thing. EQing, bass control, compression, reverbs and delays, and all of those things. They're just the things that make everything sound so good. On my master boss, I'm not doing anything crazy. I like to keep the master boss simple, just to make sure I am trying to fix my music right here individually than fixing it with the thousands of plugins on the master boss. So here I'm using the T-Rax plugin, which is doing a lot. Again, it is called the T-Rax 5.1. I apologize for whatever it is that is, cutting off my voice as I'm trying to explain or show you one thing or the other. I think I need to upgrade my laptop or change my computer or something. So support the channel by subscribing so more people can see this and can bring you more better content in future. So signing out. This is all I want to show you. I hope you enjoyed. I hope there's one thing or two that you learned from this whole tutorial or explanation. Make sure you share, make sure you like, make sure you comment, whatever you want me to do next. And I'll be sure to reply every one of you. Thank you for sticking around. Have fun and peace.